Jamie has publicly taken Dakota with him to important events despite criticism aimed at both of them. No one can forget the premiere of Untold Fire at the Venice Film Festival. While the crowd focused on the familiar faces of Hollywood, all the cameras were flashing continuously as a couple stepped out of a silver limousine. Jamie Dornan, rugged, elegant, and Dakota Johnson, gentle but sharp, as if no time had passed since 50 Shades. Without any announcement, without any previous posts, Jamie Dornan officially brought Dakota Johnson with him to this prestigious event, an action that was likened to a media bomb. In the eyes of the public, this was a bold move. Rumors about Dakota being the cause of the breakup of Jamie and Amelia Warner's marriage have not subsided. Although Dakota denied it, and Jamie remained silent for a year, this public action was seen as a wordless confirmation. Without saying a word, just holding hands and walking down the red carpet, Jamie made all questions redundant. The days before the storm, the story didn't start in Venice. It began more than a year ago, after a backstage photo at the 2024 BAFTA Awards after-party. Jamie and Dakota were smiling in the dim light, their eyes meeting in a more familiar than formal way. The internet was abuzz. Are they dating? At first, Jamie denied it. In a brief interview with GQ, he said, "Dakota is a friend. We've been through a lot together while filming. But no, nothing more than that." However, the paparazzi didn't let it go. They kept catching Jamie and Dakota in small cafes in London, afternoons at the Tate Modern, and even a beach walk in Howth, Ireland, where Jamie grew up. What shocked everyone the most was that Amelia Warner stopped appearing with Jamie at public events. A month later, Jamie confirmed the divorce. He wrote briefly on Instagram, "Amelia and I have decided to separate amicably. We will always be friends, and will continue to raise our children together." Immediately, social media exploded. Dakota Johnson was dragged into the storm. People called her the cold third party, the Hollywood woman who destroyed the happiness of other families. And Jamie, once the ideal gentleman, has now become a traitor, silence and choices. Both Jamie and Dakota have kept absolute silence for nearly half a year. Not a single public photo. No confirmation. They disappeared from the media as if they had never been in the spotlight. But in the dark, feelings still developed. According to a close friend of Dakota's, she struggled mightily. She used to say, "I don't want to be the cause of any harm. I love him, but I'm not sure the world will forgive me for this." Jamie, on the other hand, has been more private since the divorce. He spends a lot of time with his children and rarely appears at major events. People thought he was hiding, but in fact, he was waiting for the right moment. Venice, the fateful public night. The Untold Fire premiere marked the first time Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson appeared in public as a couple. The film's director, Lars Meinhardt, revealed that Jamie had offered to take Dakota to the event. And when Lars worried about the negative media coverage, Jamie just laughed. "I spent half a year being afraid of what other people would see. Now I want to be myself." In Venice, Dakota appeared in a silver Dior dress, Jamie in a neatly tailored black tuxedo. When Jamie gently placed his hand on Dakota's back in front of hundreds of cameras, millions of hearts stopped beating. They did not hide, nor did they appear embarrassed. They loved each other, clearly, openly and without apology. A wave of criticism exploded. The next morning, the front pages were full of headlines. Jamie Dornan officially announces his relationship with Dakota Johnson. How did Amelia Warner react to her ex-husband's actions? Hollywood shocked. The scandalous love affair has now come to light. Twitter exploded with the hashtags #boycott Jamie Dornan and #justice for Amelia. Within 24 hours, a series of fans turned their backs on Jamie and Dakota. On Instagram, Dakota received thousands of critical messages. "I used to love you. Now I am so disappointed." Jamie was called a pitiful traitor, but there were also supporters. Some loyal fans wrote, "They have a right to love. We don't know what happened in Jamie's marriage. Dakota doesn't owe anyone an apology. They're not characters in your morality play." Days later, Dakota spoke out for the first time since the incident. In an interview with Vanity Fair, she said, "I kept quiet for a long time because I didn't want to hurt anyone anymore. But I'm human, I love, and I have the right to be true to that." And Jamie, in a brief conversation with the BBC, said, "I didn't want to come out for fame or to challenge public opinion. I just didn't want to live on the run anymore. I love Dakota. She's the one person who makes me feel safe." While these words didn't quell all the criticism, they did divide public opinion. A big debate broke out in the media about the right to love and the moral responsibility of celebrities. Stability and moving on. After Venice, Jamie and Dakota continued to appear together. They attended the LACMA Gala, attended Paris Fashion Week, and even went to a charity concert co-hosted by Amelia herself, a moment that was considered mature and good-natured. What is remarkable is that Amelia Warner never attacked or blamed anyone. In a rare interview, she said, "Marriage doesn't always last forever. But Jamie and I are always together as parents. I hope both he and Dakota find peace." Those words made many people think, maybe it is the public who has not learned to accept that celebrities have their own lives, their own feelings, and cracks that no outsider can understand. When they are no longer afraid. A year later, Jamie and Dakota were invited as guests of honor at the Cannes Film Festival. They walked the red carpet, hand in hand, no longer with the pitying glances or bowed heads. In their eyes now was understanding, maturity, and peace. The reporter asked Jamie, "Have you ever regretted making your relationship public amid the media storm?" Jamie smiled, looking at Dakota. "No. If I hadn't made it public, I would have regretted it." Dakota gently took his hand. Silence is sometimes the safe choice. But love cannot live forever in the dark.